Welcome back to the Commanders Declassified podcast. We'll clean up that beginning and post. Sorry about that. I got distracted for a second after I started the recording. My name is Eric. I'll be hosting until Ellie gets online here. And my guy Mike from Southwest, as always, riding shotgun. What's up, Mike? How are we feeling about last night's preseason round 2 or week 2 against the Cincinatti Bengals? That was a 31-17 loss. A lot happened. There were some really good and some really not so good. So what was your takeaways from last night?
It was good in the beginning, man. I'm not going to lie. The first team offense, or the remnants of the first team offense, led by Jaden Daniels, it was nice to see them just take off. No passes, just 4 straight runs in your face. 4 different people touched the ball. Was it 4? I think it was only 3 on that drive. Bill hadn't got in yet, but it was good to see them run the ball. The offensive line, like we've been saying all offseason, especially since the Tunsil trade, they upgraded. They went for it. They went after it, and you're starting to see the dividends early. They were down 2 starters with Coleman and Tunsil being out, and they reshuffled the line. Wiley went back to right tackle, I think. Wiley went to left tackle. Chris Paul came in the left guard, and the offensive line still functioning pretty well. Mind you, Cosme is still missing 2. So it just goes to show you that they did right by the offensive line by continuing to attack it. And outside of that, man, I just got to give props to the defense, man. The defense, they are aggressive, and we haven't even seen their final form yet. So the fact that they're looking pretty decent, at least in stages. We'll talk later about their pass coverage or lack thereof. But the aggressiveness, the speed, the attitude, that's there. It wasn't there in New England, but it came at home versus the Bengals for the second preseason game. So that was good to see. But outside of that, like you, I'm starting to feel the preseason blues too. I definitely turned the TV off when there was 8 minutes and 40 seconds left in the game, and I watched the rest of it this morning and see that I didn't miss anything. So I'm ready for the season, but we got one more. But
I stayed up for the whole thing, but I was definitely on my phone for the better part of the second half, not paying very much attention. It's just unwatchable football. How are we feeling about the offensive line, all the shuffling around? It's only the second week of the preseason, and we got guys playing in different spots already. Is that concerning to you at all, like these little nagging injuries that we're already seeing? Or do you think we're just being ultra careful right now?
I think it's the latter. I think the injuries, if they needed to go, they'll go. Like if it was the playoff game, I'm pretty sure the O-line would not only be able to play, but they'll be functioning pretty well at that point. So I'm not tripping. And if they are banged up, I think the depth is so good that they could survive a few, I would say, weeks of injuries, not the season. Like if they lose Tunsil for the season, they're in trouble. I don't care how deep the O-line is. You lose Tunsil, you lose Biadas. Like that's probably the second most important lineman. You lose one of them two, the offensive line is in trouble. And but right now I'm not panicking at all with their injuries. I say it's a nothing burger on a scale of 0 to 10.
All right. Yeah, I'll take that right now. For me, I would have liked as fun and nerve-wracking as that Jaden Daniels touchdown was to watch. I would have liked to have seen him throw at least one pass. But the Bengals defense was so inept that it was like not necessary. They were so bad on that first drive. It was just Swiss cheese the whole way that, they got him out of there relatively unscathed. He got that first pop from the other team, which was probably nice to feel. A little scary for fans to watch, and I'm sure for the coaches to watch. But, I would have liked to have seen him throw pats because I highly doubt he plays next week. So his first pass of the season is going to come like when the games actually count. Ellie, how the heck are you?
What's up, guys?
What's your takeaway from last night? I assume you stayed up past your bedtime to watch.
I did. And I'm paying for it tonight. But my takeaway, I had a couple actually. I love that we're returning to being a running team. It did not give me the impression that Jaden Daniels is going to be any less part of the run game, which I was somewhat hoping for just for his health and safety, but he's going to do what he's going to do. I think that we saw what true professional blocking looks like in the run game. Also, patient runners with vision last night. That was like my key takeaway on offense. I think from a receiver perspective, you talked about like wanting to see Jaden throw. They called a passing play. I don't think our receivers got any separation on that play, which also kind of worried me a little bit. Like, without McLaurin and all that stuff there, it's just, I think passing is going to be an interesting thing this year where we're going to have to manufacture looks to get open and, or scheme people open, I guess I should say. And you can't do that every single down, right? Because the defense has really intelligent coordinators and highly paid players too. So it's going to be a little bit of a game of chess. I just hope that we get creative enough with Debo to make up for the lack of McLaurin's absence, should that bleed into the regular season, which I don't believe from a contractual standpoint it will, because he has a contract. But now I'm getting nervous from a ready and preparedness aspect. Is he going to be good to go? Because we're getting really late into the offseason. Defensively, I love the way our corners played aggressively in the run game. They were very good and aggressive coming up to tackle the ball carrier. I still feel a little nervous about the run game defensively up the middle. I felt like we got pushed around a little bit in the middle of the field, and the Bengals were able to run the ball right up the A gaps on us a little bit more than I would like to. Pass rush looks like it's going to be a total pass rush by committee. Nobody was excellent and I shouldn't say excellent. They were all good, but nobody was showed greatness last night. But they rush well as a collective, and they complemented each other in the pass rush, which I think is something that we also need to improve on. And then lastly, I think our linebackers last night opened up some questions for me. Luvu's discipline, obviously coming off that championship game where he dove over the line on the Philly shove, but then he jumped off sides last night. We were exposing ourselves on the blitz repeatedly last night with hard counts. Just little things like that need to be cleaned up. I think are going to make somewhat of a difference this year. They're just kind of some residual concerns I had from last night.
Yeah, one thing about the blitzing that I noticed was I don't know that they were game plan type blitzes. I think they were just kind of blitzing to see how their guys handled it, because some of the situations they were putting themselves in with those blitzes was not great if they didn't get home. But it really didn't appear to me that they were keying anything off of what the offense was doing. I think they were just kind of calling plays and throwing it out there. As maybe it's a little more complex than that, but I don't know that that's their regular season blitz package. They're just going to go out and go zero blitz, 12 times a game. Maybe they will. Maybe they'll go like Jerry Glanville from the 1980s. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not super concerned about that. You mentioned the corners, and one thing I thought about is that kid Mitchell Tinsley for the Bengals just had the game of his life last night. But go back and watch those amazing catches that he had. The corners were coverage was really good. He was just making ridiculous plays. So some of those second string guys like Bobby Price, and I can't remember the other guy's name, they had great coverage. They just got beat by a good throw and a good catch. That's going to happen in the NFL. I don't really put that on those guys. And the other thing about Tinsley is I'm glad he's not our preseason all-star this time, because again, he was making those great catches against backup corners, but zero separation against those guys and on any of his catches. So it remains to be seen what he turns into in the NFL. Obviously, he was here last year, so he sucks because he's not here now. But no, we wish Tinsley the best, but I think he's Cincy's problem to overhype. So which getting back to the offensive side of the ball, what obviously the running back is a big issue right now, or a topic of discussion right now, with Brian Robinson Jr. being on the trade block. The running backs acquitted themselves pretty well last night. I think we can agree. So who was more impressive, Mike, C-Rod or Bill Merrit? I'm just ditching the Krosky, by the way. I can't. It's too much to say. So Bill Merrit, that's your name.
I'm gonna say Rodriguez was the more impressive running back. He ran. I think he ran more yards. He was more consistent with his runs. He was a professional running back. Bill is still a rookie, so I'm not going to like be too harsh on him or expect too much out of him. But with Rodriguez, I feel like he was the one that looked more polished as a running back. If they do get rid of Robinson, I feel like C-Rod will be RB1 to start the season, with Krosky Merritt probably being like a Bucky Irving for like the Bucks were last year. Come in and spell during the season and maybe take over towards the end of the year. Or Rodriguez might take off and Eckler will be sprinkled in somehow. But I like C-Rod to be RB1 to start the season.
Okay.
I know,
like
shocker.
How about you, Al? What do you think?
I honestly completely agree. I think Rodriguez was more impressive to me, but we've also seen Rodriguez do it before. He averages almost 5 yards a carry for his career. He just hadn't been given the opportunities. The thing that's the best thing about C-Rod is there's no hesitation, right? That doesn't mean that he rushes through the gap, but he hits the hole very hard. And then he just explodes. And then, he might not take it for 70. And I actually thought on that long run he bailed to the sideline way too quick in that run, which gave the defender a lot better of an angle because he was going sideways instead of straight ahead. If he went straight ahead, I think he probably would have scored. But C-Rod gets you the yards you're supposed to get and then some because he's explosive through the hole. Robinson hesitates and he substitutes that for vision, right? Krosky Merritt is a very effective runner. I think though one thing I noticed was like his size compared to Rodriguez is like a massive difference. I like Krosky Merritt. I think C-Rod probably starts the season as RB1. Krosky Merritt gets a ton of carries, and then Eckler's in a passing game and some like those offset snaps, things like that. But C-Rod is probably your bell cow.
Forgot
So you
about
hit
McNichols.
hit on it a little bit. The difference between C-Rod. The one thing I noticed about Merritt, Krosky Merritt, I'll figure out what to call him at some point here. The difference between Rodriguez and Jacory is that Rodriguez is very much like a hammer type of running back. He's got like one gear and it's straight ahead. Whereas Krosky Merritt, not so much hesitation, but it's more patience, especially on the long touchdown run he had is a perfect example. He really waited for the offensive line for the hole to develop. Basically, he was just almost like that. We don't want to comp him to a future Hall of Famer or a great player just yet, but like that Le'Veon Bell type patience is what you kind of saw there, where he just let things happen in front of him, and then once it was there, it was go. Whereas Rodriguez is more of like, if the hole's not there, I'm going to make it. That's a good combination to have. I don't think either style is really wrong, but you can definitely find ways to use both. And I think, without early on, at least a bell cow type running back, you can be very effective just mixing those two running styles together. So it's going to be fun to watch. And yeah, and McNichols, like you said, he's not going anywhere. I think he's the best in pass protection of the three of them. And Austin Eckler is Austin Eckler. He's going to have a role on this team because of what he's able to do. And unless there's like a massive athletic decline, I don't see him dropping at all. So getting back to B.Rob, what's your prediction? Where's he end up? Does he get traded or does he just get waived? Mike, you can go ahead.
I think he's out of here. I saw a tweet that JP Finley said that he doesn't even have a locker room anymore. Apparently, he took the trade rumors to heart, or took them hard, or whatever. And it makes sense because I'm listening to the press conference and Jay Daniels like, yeah, we found out about B.Rob through the meeting on yesterday or whatever. And then Dan Quinn followed that up in his press conference saying he met with the players and met with him and Peters met with B.Rob individually the morning before the game. So something must have happened because it just felt like this, really, it got hot quick. Because I think on last show, I think that's when the murmur started when Ben Standig was like, he can't see B.Rob on the roster and yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, that's nonsense. They're not going to get rid of a productive running back. And then all of a sudden, they're getting rid of a productive running back. Because it's not like dude was trash, like 1,000 all-purpose yards last year. I think he ended up with 1,000 total with rushing and receiving. I think 8 combined touchdowns, 6 rushing, 2 receiving, or something like that. and he didn't even play the whole season. So it just goes to show you that he can produce. But it just seems like his style isn't good, man. And I feel like nobody's going to trade for him, even though there's been tweets saying that teams have been interested. I feel like that's Washington putting that news out there. Nobody's trading for B.Rob, man. That's why I felt like it was never going to happen that they were going to release him because they weren't going to be able to trade him and get anything for it. But it looks like he's out of here, man. And I honestly can't believe it. If you told me a week ago that this would be happening, I'd call you crazy. But here we are. He's like seemingly out of here for good.
We're all crazy. Ellie, what do you think the compensation is if there's even a trade for him? We getting that second rounder? I know X is blowing up. Everybody's talking about second round day two pick.
I just want to say I've been telling you guys about B.Rob for a few years.
You should see the victory lap Ellie has been taking in our group chat. It is, yeah.
Well, and to be clear,
like dancing on B.Rob's grave.
No, I know that's bad form, and I'm joking. But if you go back, like the thing with B.Rob is, what was his pedigree coming out of college? He was a part-time running back who didn't have an enormous amount of success in college. He was a third-round pick who got way overdrafted by an administration who had no idea about drafting players whatsoever. And then he came to the NFL and he was serviceable at best, but he was never great. Like, I don't know why folks got so attached to B.Rob as a starting running back. The vision was never there. He was really good in the screen game. I will give him that all day. But from a running back standpoint, he left so many yards on the field. And remember, we had Antonio Gibson at the time too, who also never materialized in what we thought he was. The compensation I think you'll get for him is potentially a conditional, like, 7th-round pick. And that's only going to happen if we pick up part of the contract that he's owed this year. I think he's owed like $3 million. And then also because B.Rob needs a new contract next year if you're going to trade for him. So you're not going to give up considerable assets to have to pay a running back who just got basically washed out in his own town to come there. And the only reason you would even give up compensation is that you can guarantee that you can get his services for the year if you're desperate to need them. Otherwise, you're just going to play the waiting game. There's also going to be, for B.Rob, hey, in about a week, there's going to be a lot of other running backs on the market, right?
So what do you
or the team you want to go to does something. So your agent better be out there working the phones with the Chicago Bears, with the San Francisco 49ers saying, hey, look, you guys need a running back. I'm a starter, have been a starter. I would add depth to your room. Come get me now, because a week from now, it may be a lot more difficult for B.Rob to find a job once those final roster cuts are in place.
Yeah, so I think, the Bears, the 49ers, I think the Saints were one of the destinations. I think if he hits waivers, if he makes it to free agency, and I agree with you, I think conditional 7th or like a Robinson and a 7th for a 6th or something like that is what you get. But if he makes it to waivers, I think a really good fit for B.Rob is actually the Dallas Cowboys right now. That's a team that obviously I don't think Washington's going to trade with them. But if he clears and he gets released, I think Dallas Cowboys, that's a team to watch, because that's a team that, is going into the season with what's his name? The guy that was in Denver last year. Javonte Williams, who's fine, basically at B.Rob's level, I would say. Just the kind of guy that if he's your starting running back, you're fine, but you're always looking to improve, which is kind of where you're at with Brian Robinson. But yeah, I would agree with you guys. I don't think that if he gets traded at all, I don't think the compensation is going to be overwhelming. And, I think he's going to end up on a team that, I think I don't see him leaving the NFC East, maybe even the Giants, who knows? Or Philly picks him up because he went to Alabama. It could be that too. Enough about B.Rob, right? Like we all know he's not going to be here. We wish him the best, obviously, except Ellie. But we all wish that he's we all hope he lands on his feet and he does well in the NFL. Getting back to last night's game, Mike, who was your superstar, and who was hot and who was not last night? I guess is pick your best player and your MVP and your LVP.
So the good ones, the ballers, whatever you want to call them, I'm gonna go with all the rookies. All the rookies, all 5 of them, even Trey Amos, even though he didn't play yesterday. I feel like that's a sign like, hey, we you're banged up and we really need you, so we don't want to risk you losing you, bro. And sure, it would have been nice to see him go against Chase and Higgins or whatever, but Burrow barely targeted him. I think Chase had 1 catch or whatever. Like, it's nothing. I trust Trey Amos already. I know he's just a rookie, but you can say the same for all the other rookies too. Even Madrano was out there doing this thing yesterday. He still has a lot to learn, especially when it comes to attacking the gaps in the run game and being a bit more physical. Remember, this Bama just was playing wide receiver a couple of years ago. It's not like he's Singletary out there yet. But Connerly, he cooked, man. Like, Connerly really had a good game on those runs. He was doing this thing. I'm trying to remember who was. Oh, how can I forget the star of the night, Bill Koski Merritt? Like, every single rookie had an impact play yesterday, including another rookie that I forgot, Jalen Lane, everybody's favorite sleeper wide receiver in the dynasty leagues. Even he was doing this thing. I saw him lining up in the slot. I saw him lining up in the outside. He even had like a NFL receiver type catch where Hartman threw a nice pass to him. We'll talk about Hartman later, I'm sure. But he threw a nice pass to him, and Lane was able to reach and catch it, stretch his body out as the ball is heading towards the ground. He looked nice yesterday. I can't wait to see how these pieces fit in the regular season. But for last night, really well. And as far as like the stallers, it's the penalties, man. We mentioned them already. Luvu with jumping off sides that extended the drive. The horse collar tackle, even though it was lame, that extended the drive. Pass interference, that was another lame penalty that the refs called, but it extended the drive. The team has to be more disciplined on defense. Their their potential is good, but they have also shown the potential this offseason that they're more than capable of pulling the Plaxico and shooting themselves in the foot. So they have to work on that as the season starts. But it was really hard to pick something bad from yesterday, even though they lost by double digits again. It's preseason, and the backups for other teams may be better than ours, but the starters or the players that will have impact this season, they've been looking pretty good this preseason.
All right, Elliot, who's your baller installer from last night?
I got a couple. My ballers, Will Harris. He's gotten no love this offseason. He made some big plays last night.
Yeah, that pass
Quan,
breakup in the end zone was ridiculous.
absolutely. Quan
Yeah.
Martin was continuing his Quan Martin like run. He's been great.
Yeah, that
Um,
stuff on the goal line was crazy. He almost did it again on the next play too. That was
yes,
crazy.
he did.
Can't wait to see him unleashed in the regular season. Sorry to cut you off, but
No,
I'm
I
psyched
agree with
about
you.
him.
I love it.
Really
And
psyched
then,
about him.
yeah, me too, man. And Debo, that one run that Debo had was perfection. Now, I did take note of how slowly Debo got up. Don't know if he was just taking the moment in, but I was like, hey, why is he not on his feet yet? He's fine. I just was like, man, it took him a long time to get up. My stallers, man, that game went 4 quarters and a bunch of plays against a bunch of really bad players, and still no sign of Luke McCaffrey. At some point, I'm just going to stop bringing it up because I don't understand what's going on. Now, I've seen people on Twitter who seem to know some things, say he was wide open. They just never got him. But for some reason with Luke, he always seems to be open, but they never seem to find him. So something's got to be off there. We got to see more. I think Terry McLaurin, and I'm only saying this because the offense looks so crisp with running the game, with the running game. Would love to have had Terry a part of that. So he kind of stalled up my hopes there. And Ben Sinnott. I thought Sinnott was going to be more impactful. I think Cole Turner had some catches, and Sinnott was like barely a non-factor or barely a factor at all. I don't know. I don't know what's up with those two, but hopefully they become more and more of a factor as time goes on. So I haven't given up hope. I just wanted to see more of them in a game like that yesterday, where Terry was out. So I was hoping to see McCaffrey running more with the ones and the twos, and I don't think like he just was not noticeable at all yesterday. That's what I got, Eric.
All right. So you guys took all the stallers and the ballers. So you left me with the crumbs, but that's okay. I got some anyway, because you did save me some good morsels. My ballers, John Bates, not going to show up in the stat sheet. That block he laid, I think it was on Rodriguez's first run. He's the one that opened that up. They signed him. They went after him in the offseason. They were really aggressive about re-signing him in the offseason, and I understand why. He is a very valuable player. Ben Sinnott actually made a couple of plays in the run game as well, but obviously it's not going to show up. But John Bates is the blocking tight end, and he's one of the better blocking tight ends in the league. So that's a guy that I'm going to like. I actually really like the way, despite the pass interference, like the way Noah Igbenogany played. I've been like a low-key fan of Noah since he got here. I don't know what the deal with him was at his other stops. He was a first-round pick. We always forget about that, but he was a first-round pick in Miami. And he kind of latched on with Dan Quinn and Joe Witt, and he came over here. Really solid tackler and really good in coverage. And like you said, Will Harris, another one, made an incredible pass break up in the end zone. So I think the secondary play is just going to be leaps and bounds better this year. My staller / baller, I don't know how to assign this guy. Dietrich Wise last night, great play on the rush, getting Joe Burrow. Kind of a lame penalty. It was a horse collar tackle, but why are you like trying to fight the ref in the preseason? That's what I understand. So you're either installer or he was so mad about that. Like he was in regular season form.
Do they get fined for that?
I don't know, man, but he was like, they were holding him back on the sidelines. And like,
I didn't even see that. Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
He was mad. He was hot.
He was angry.
Yeah. And the other staller, since you guys left him for me, I know everybody wants to pile on Sam Hartman, but don't let that overshadow how awful Josh Johnson was last night. Both backup quarterbacks, that's why I'm going to be a little softer on like guys like Sinnott and McCaffrey, because the quarterback play was so bad from both guys. And I know, Hartman obviously had that terrible pick at the end of the first half that set him up for that second touchdown, like, the first pass he threw. I actually thought in the second half, he settled down just a little bit, and he had a really nice throw to Jalen Lane.
Agreed.
Made a couple of throws, but overall just not good. He's just not ready to play in the NFL yet.
No.
Josh Johnson is like a 15-year vet and was struggling against third stringers, and that's all I need to know. Like the Josh
interception was lazy too.
Yeah, that was a terrible interception.
Like it just threw like, oh,
hold on.
That was a Rex Grossman throw.
Let's talk about that real quick. Now, I know you might not be done, Eric, but I will at least assign some blame on the interception to Jalen Lane if you watch it back. The defender had him stuffed on the corner route, and he kind of just gave up on the route, which I didn't love about Jalen Lane last night. But it was still a terrible throw and a horrible throw by Josh Johnson. But there is some blame to pass around. That's all. Sorry.
Yeah. If Mariota's healthy, I don't see this team carrying 3 quarterbacks this year. That's all I'm saying. Unless you sign somebody from somewhere else. Maybe you can pluck Desmond Ridder from Cincinnati since he didn't get any playing time last night. But the 2 guys that we had playing third string, I want to believe there's something there with Sam Hartman, but he doesn't have the arm strength. He's got to rely on timing, and he just right now doesn't have the timing and anticipation that you need to play in the NFL, especially with a subpar arm. So, he may end up on I think his career trajectory is probably practice squad guy for a long time, maybe a third stringer somewhere, but he's just not ready to play in the NFL. And Josh Johnson we've got a big enough sample size on Josh Johnson to know what he is at this point. Is there a reason he's played for 14 different teams? So those are my studs and duds from last night. There's just no, the backup quarterback or the third string quarterback spot. I just don't see them even going that route in the regular season. If Marcus Mariota is healthy and ready to play.
Yeah, I think Hartman also doesn't see the field well too, which is a problem for him.
Yeah,
I think it's
very jumpy.
Yeah,
very just not pocket presence isn't great. I think that when he broke the little run, he had like a 15 or 16-yard run at the beginning of the second half, and that kind of settled him down a little bit, and he started making a few throws after that. But then you saw that jumpiness creep back in the more he played. So, I just don't see it with him at all right now.
Yeah, his future is to find himself a Jay Gruden, find a Sean McVay, Kevin Stefanski, one of those coaches that likes really average quarterbacks to operate their system and just be in that system and follow that coach wherever they go as a coordinator or whatever.
Scott
That's
Turner.
sort of Scott Turner. That's what I was trying to think of. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what his future holds for me. Look, if we get to, I think Josh Johnson will be the third quarterback. But if we get down to Josh Johnson, our season's packed up anyway, right? At that point, if he has to start a game. So I'm not even overly concerned about it. It just, neither one were great last night or good last night. You are absolutely correct.
All right, that's preseason week 2. Any final thoughts, Mike? Any final thoughts on last week? We looking forward to next week?
I wish this was Madden so we could just simulate to the regular season. This game in Baltimore is going to be so trash. And then the fact that it's at 12:30 on a Saturday is just awful. Just awful. I'm ready to get cracking, especially they gave us a taste of the first team offense, and I'm like, I'm a fiend. I need more. I need to see more of the first team offense. But yeah, just watch the game anyway so we can talk about it Tuesday, and then hopefully McLaurin will sign the contract and we'll have something happy to talk about. But other than that, it's whatever.
All right, fair enough. Elliot, you got any final thoughts there?
Yeah, I say give the backups a break. It's hard as a backup to shine when you're playing with a bunch of backups around you because you don't really get the support in the scheme and in the play that you normally would get.
Backups.
It is true, but it's hard, man. It's hard. So I give those guys a break. I want everybody to achieve their NFL dream. But I just need to see some more from guys that we expect to contribute that have done squat this preseason. So I want Luke McCaffrey specifically playing in that third game. I want Ben Sinnott playing in that third game. I want Brian. No, I'm kidding. So let's get Terry signed so we can just go into the season because we got a lot of excitement after last night's game. I feel like the energy before last night's game was kind of low for this team. Last night's game reinvigorated everybody, I feel like, at least the first quarter. And now we're back. Let's get Terry in the fold or resolve that situation, and then let's go win some stinking games. That's what I got to say.
Yeah, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but Luke McCaffrey might be Ellie's new B.Rob. You need somebody to hate on this team. I didn't even know if he suited up. I wasn't even thinking about Luke McCaffrey last night. No, I agree. I'm so sick of preseason football.
Bro.
Yeah, I know. I'm so sick of preseason football. There's no guarantees I'm watching that game on Saturday. It'll be recorded. I might try to tune in and puke my way through it. I don't know. I might just be, I might be freestyling next week like I was last week from not watching the game. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Just get through this week, get through this game with no injuries. That's really all I want to see. And then we're ready for some regular season football to start in September. And I think I speak for both of you when I say we are here for it. And I think that's going to do it for us tonight. Make sure that you give us a like and subscribe. You can find us on all of your podcatchers and right here on the YouTubes as well, which is kind of where I like to watch it. We will eventually get our TikTok up. It's just a question of if I am ever going to find time to make TikToks, and we'll see how that goes.
Dances, though. Not TikTok.
Yeah, I'm not going to be doing the TikTok dances. And I got to learn how to use filters so you don't have to look at all this. But we'll get there, and we're going to be here with you as we are every week, all season long. We are looking forward to a regular season. It's going to be another fun season, and we will catch you guys next week. And until then, peace out, homies.
Real quick before we leave. Sorry, I want to give a shout out to Ref the District. They hung it up. They were in this podcast game for 4 to 5 years, and they just made the decision to kind of no longer pursue the podcast. Shout out to those guys. They were all great dudes. Stoner, Chris, and Nate. I forgot some of the first names. And then Trev, too. They were around for a very long time, friends of the podcast. We kind of interacted with one another back and forth on each other's podcasts several years ago. Respectable dudes. Shout out for everything they contributed to the Commanders fan podcast space. We appreciate them. best of luck whatever they got coming next. But rep the district, hung it up, and make sure you guys go show them some love on social media. That's all I got, Eric.
Yeah, so if you're a Ref the District podcast listener, then we're here for you. Come on and join us. And actually, I really like those guys, and we'd love to have them back on if they're still interested in doing any guest spots. I think that we could kick Ellie off one week, and just we could have one of the you guys. Ref the District guys were always, those guys were great. They had us on a few times. Those guys are super cool. So yeah, props to them. Props to all of you for sticking with us this whole time. And now officially, we will say peace out, homies. Catch you next week.